Listen closely. You could read every self-help book out there, watch every video, whisper to yourself 1,000 times, "I love me." But unless you grasp this one truth, the love you seek will stay just out of reach, like trying to hold a sunbeam in your hands. I'm not here today to hand you another theory, another feel-good idea to nod along with and then forget. I'm here to hand you a key, a truth that no one ever told you. One Carl Jung unearthed from the depths of the human psyche. And it has the power to shift the very way you relate to yourself and everyone else. If you're here, it's not by accident. Something in you already knows. There's more. More than just accepting your shadow. More than balancing your energies. It's about embodying those concepts and using them to rewrite the way your life moves. By the time we're done, you won't just understand why love feels hard to hold on to. You'll walk away with something solid. A strategy, a path forward. Not more theory, but a way to act from your core, for yourself, and through that, for every relationship around you. Here's the truth. Your relationships are never random, not ever. What you're drawn to, or repelled by, in someone else, is a direct echo of what still lives unresolved in you. Think back for a moment. That person who stirred something intense in you. Was it love? Was it frustration? They weren't just a passing figure. They were a mirror, holding up something you've tucked deep inside, something still asking to be seen. Maybe you gravitate toward people who make you doubt yourself, or maybe you feel constantly irritated by those who show traits you've tried to bury within. Today, you'll learn to use that mirror, not to judge what you see, but to meet what's been waiting for your attention, your compassion, your healing. Because unless you do, you'll keep searching for love in the wrong places, in people who reflect your wounds instead of your wholeness. So the real question isn't, why do they act like that? It's, what are they showing me about me? This concept, what we call the relational mirror, goes far deeper than it seems. When someone sparks a sharp emotional charge in you, that jolt is often your own shadow, projected outward. Start watching your patterns. Do you find yourself repeatedly drawn to the same kinds of people? Or do you instinctively avoid a certain type over and over again? Both pull and push are reflections. Attraction and aversion. They're just two sides of the same whisper from your inner world. When you feel magnetically pulled to someone, pause and ask, what do I admire in them? Could it be that those very qualities are dormant in you? Undeveloped, unexpressed, but yearning to rise? Maybe their wildness speaks to the part of you that's lived too carefully. And when someone irritates you deeply, ask yourself, what exactly is it that gets under my skin? Could it be a trait you've disowned in yourself? Buried? Even resented? Maybe arrogance unsettles you because a part of you carries a superiority complex you've never dared admit. This kind of self-honesty, it's not easy. But it's the doorway to everything. You have to be willing to see the parts of yourself you've kept in the dark, even from your own awareness. And that's where healing begins. In the quiet recognition, that's me. The most difficult relationships in your life, they're not accidents, they're invitations. Sometimes, even karmic messengers sent to guide you home to the parts you've exiled. And just as others reflect you, you reflect them too. When you understand this, something shifts. Compassion grows. So does responsibility. You stop assuming every reaction is about you, and realize some people are simply reacting to the part of themselves that they see in you. And in that moment, you don't need to defend yourself. You can choose to understand instead. This isn't just about spotting patterns. It's about transforming them gently, deliberately, and deeply. The moment you recognize that a difficult relationship is reflecting a forgotten part of you, something inside begins to shift. That recognition becomes the doorway to healing. As you slowly begin to welcome the exiled, underdeveloped, or rejected pieces of yourself back into the whole, something incredible happens. Your outer world, your relationships, start to realign, not by force, not by effort, but naturally, effortlessly. Integration takes time. This isn't an overnight miracle. There's no shortcut, but there is a rhythm, quiet unfolding. Observe your emotions not as flaws, but as fascinating data, as if you were a scientist, calmly studying your own heart. Curious, open, without judgment. And over time, the people who once shook you to your core will lose their grip on your nervous system. Where once you were drawn to chaos, you'll find yourself pulled toward balance. Where once you mirrored wounds, you'll start to reflect your healing. No longer desperate to find someone to complete you, you'll begin creating something far more powerful. Connection built on shared wholeness, not emotional need. This is where true love begins, not the romantic fantasy, but real, grounded, expansive love. The kind that can only bloom when you love from fullness, not emptiness. When you're no longer trying to fill a void, because there is no void. And here's the deepest truth. The very part of you that you've been trying to hide, deny, or fix, that's the part that's been sabotaging your relationships all along. You can't fully love, not really, if you're at war with parts of yourself. Think for a moment. What aspects of you do you keep behind closed doors? What do you hope no one else ever sees? That is your shadow. And until you stop running from it, you'll keep projecting those insecurities outward, blaming others, fearing connection, avoiding the mirrors that show you yourself. If arrogance in others triggers you, ask, do I fear being seen as arrogant myself? If you're magnetically pulled toward those who make you feel small, look deeper. Is there a part of you that doesn't believe you're big enough? This work, shadow integration, isn't about perfection. It's about wholeness. It's about becoming real. Because only when you accept the full spectrum of who you are, can you love authentically and be loved in return. And here's the part many forget. Your shadow doesn't just hold your shame or your wounds. It holds your brilliance too. Your hidden gifts, your quiet genius, your creative fire. When you reject parts of yourself, you fragment. You block the very depth of connection you long for. But when you embrace all of you, you stop chasing love. You become it. And from that center, real connection becomes inevitable. See, the more split you are inside, the more you'll seek someone outside to complete the missing piece. Every time you harshly judge someone, you're standing in front of a mirror. That irritating quality, it's not random. It's a messenger. Your strongest emotional reactions are your clearest teachers. They point not to others, but to yourself. Maybe you can't stand vulnerability in others, because deep down, you haven't made peace with your own softness. Or maybe ambition grates on you, because you've never given yourself permission to want more. Even romantic attraction isn't immune to shadow. We're drawn to people who embody what we've pushed down: suppressed power, hidden confidence, unexpressed longing. If you're constantly attracted to dominant personalities, Ask, is there a voice in me that's never had the space to be strong? If you chase those who need rescuing, could it be that you are the one longing to be held, to be seen, to be saved? Self-sabotage in love doesn't always scream. It whispers. It repeats. It lives in your patterns. And those patterns are not random. They're protection. They are your shadow's way of keeping you safe from intimacy, from risk, from becoming who you truly are. To integrate your shadow requires one thing above all: courage, not the loud, cinematic kind, but the quiet bravery to look inward without flinching, without judging, without turning away. The first step: dare to see what you've hidden from yourself. So the next time someone sparks a strong reaction in you, a sudden aversion, a gut-level resistance, pause and ask, where does this live in me? Not to blame yourself, but to better understand yourself, to walk deeper into your own inner terrain. Shadow integration isn't just about awareness. It's also about expression. If your creativity has been shoved into a corner, dust it off. Let it live again, safely, freely, even clumsily. If you've denied your longing for connection, practice being seen. Start small, share vulnerably. Let the light touch what's been closed off. Because over time, those cast-off parts of you, the ones that once sabotaged your peace, become your quiet power, your wisdom, your strength. Here's something that helps. Write a letter to your shadow. Speak to it. Acknowledge that it exists. Thank it for trying to protect you, and gently invite it to rejoin the rest of you. This internal dialogue, as simple as it sounds, can be the beginning of a profound reconciliation, a truce between who you've been and who you're becoming. And here lies the paradox. When you accept your darkness, you begin to shine. When you embrace your flaws, you stop pretending. You become real. And real is what builds love that lasts. The most fulfilling relationships, they don't happen when two halves try to complete each other. They happen when two whole people meet, light and shadow in hand. When you're no longer looking for someone to fill your missing pieces, but someone to grow beside, to evolve with, to expand into more than you were before. This is love as growth. Because love isn't just about feeling good, it's about becoming more. Every argument, every breakdown, every unmet expectation isn't just drama, it's data. It's an opening. It's a moment that says, look here, there's something to learn. Until you understand this, you'll repeat the same loops, same emotions, different names, different faces. If abandonment keeps showing up in your relationships, there's likely a wound still open, one that needs your attention, not someone else's affection. If you cling to people who make you feel safe, it might be because some part of you still doesn't feel safe alone. And that's okay. Because here, you're learning something sacred. That love isn't a destination. It's a path, a mirror, a teacher. When we only see love as comfort, we miss its deeper purpose. Love is transformation. Love is revelation. Love is the most intimate classroom life will ever offer you. Each person who enters your orbit comes with a lesson. Each relationship a curriculum. And if the lesson isn't learned, the cycle will repeat. Different bodies, same story. Your relational history isn't chaos, it's code. Patterns that connect, if you're brave enough to see them. Maybe you're always drawn to emotionally distant people. Maybe you keep attracting those who need to be rescued. Maybe you've become the rescuer yourself. These aren't random. They're messages. They're reflections of what still lives inside you, asking for attention. Attachment theory tells us our earliest connections write the scripts we replay in adulthood. If love once came wrapped in inconsistency, you may now confuse unpredictability with passion, because the pain is familiar, and familiar often feels safe. But recognition is the first step toward release. Romantic love isn't here just to make you smile. It's here to expose what's hidden, to reveal what you never dared face alone. In closeness, your fears rise. Your defense mechanisms activate. Your deepest desires surface. Love isn't just about finding the right person. It's about becoming the person who can love deeply, fearlessly, consciously. When conflict surfaces in a relationship, the question isn't, who's right? The question is, what is this moment trying to teach me about myself? Maybe that sharp irritation you felt after a seemingly harmless comment reveals a deeper fear, a tender insecurity still unhealed. Maybe your need to stay in control isn't about power at all, but about the quiet terror of being left behind. These insights are uncomfortable, yes, but they're golden. If you're willing to look, even attraction teaches, especially the intense kind. You know that magnetic pull you feel towards certain people? That isn't coincidence. It's your soul pointing at something inside you that wants to be claimed. If someone's wild freedom mesmerizes you, perhaps it's because you've silenced your own. If their creativity stirs you, maybe your inner artist is just waiting for permission to step into the light. Our deepest attractions are not random. They are maps, guides to hidden pieces of our own potential. And heartbreak? Though it feels like breaking, it often breaks us open. When something ends, you're given a choice. You can blame, repeat, close your heart. Or you can ask, what is this here to teach me? That question changes everything. It draws the line between becoming bitter and becoming wise. Mature love doesn't demand perfection. It seeks evolution together. In that kind of relationship, every challenge becomes a shared invitation to expand, to break through, to rise and heal as a team. And here's the paradox. When you use love as a path for growth, joy follows, but not the fleeting kind, the kind that roots itself deep, the kind that grows over time because it's built from truth. You stop relying on perfect people, perfect timing, perfect circumstances, and you begin to find peace in your own unfolding. The shift happens when you stop asking, why do I always end up with people like this? And start asking, why do I keep choosing them? That one question returns your power. You stop being a passenger in your own love life. You become the architect. Choosing love as a path of growth takes bravery. You must be willing to look at things you were taught to avoid, to question beliefs you didn't even know you were carrying, to outgrow identities that once kept you safe, but now hold you small. But what you receive in return is priceless. Deeper relationships, greater clarity, love that comes from freedom, not fear. If you keep ending up in the same kind of relationship, the answer is rarely out there. It's within. The patterns you repeat aren't coincidences. They're signals, emotional echoes pointing toward wounds that are still waiting for your care. If you're drawn to people who hurt you, look at what part of you has normalized pain as love. If you constantly seek validation, is there a younger version of you who never felt fully seen? Today, we begin something different. We begin to name the patterns, to interrupt the cycle, to take back the authorship of your emotional experience. because until you do, you'll keep meeting the same energy in different bodies. Toxic relationship loops don't need intention to run, just unconsciousness. They're not curses. They're not karma. They're simply outdated programming, running in the background of your heart. And most of it? It began long before you were old enough to question it. Maybe you grew up where love was earned, not offered freely. Now you chase approval like it's your ticket to being loved. Maybe love was mixed with criticism. So now, chaos feels familiar. But what's familiar is not always what's right. And healing begins when you start choosing what actually feels true. There's a reason we keep repeating the same love stories, even when they hurt. That reason? It's simple. What feels familiar feels safe, even if that familiarity is painful. Your brain isn't wired for happiness, it's wired for survival, and survival often clings to the known. This is why so many people leave one toxic relationship only to fall into another that looks hauntingly similar. The cycle repeats, not because you want it to, but because deep down, a part of you equates the known with safe. So how do you break the pattern? Step 1, awareness. Study your past like you're watching a film. What story keeps replaying? Do you keep ending up abandoned? Do you chase people who can never truly meet you? Do you lose yourself in every love you enter? These repetitions aren't random. They're clues, each one pointing to an emotional wound, still open, still unhealed. And behind every toxic cycle is a belief quietly whispering, "This is what I deserve." If betrayal keeps knocking at your door, maybe, somewhere deep inside, you still believe you don't deserve loyalty. If you feel controlled in love, maybe you don't yet trust your ability to lead your own life. These aren't just emotional patterns. They're neural pathways, carved by repetition. Your brain has learned to expect what it's already known. But here's the powerful part. You can rewire it. You can break the circuit. But it takes deliberate, daily awareness. And it begins by listening to your emotional triggers. Those sudden, outsized reactions. They're not random. They're windows into your oldest wounds. If your partner being late fills you with panic, ask yourself, am I really reacting to the delay or to a deeper fear of being left behind? If a passing comment about your appearance sends you spiraling, is it truly about the words or about the part of you that never felt enough? Healing begins the moment you take ownership. Not blame. Ownership. Not, it's all my fault. But this is my pattern, and I'm ready to meet it with compassion. Because as long as you stay in the role of the victim, life, love, and pain will keep choosing for you. Real change begins when you start choosing for yourself. To do that, you must return to your body. Love addiction, just like any addiction, starts in the body, in the nervous system's craving for what's familiar, that magnetic pull toward chaos, that electrifying high around the wrong person. It's not love, it's recognition. Your system remembers that feeling, even if it's tied to pain. So you have to slow down, feel, pause, learn how your body responds to red flags before your heart calls them green. Set boundaries, yes, with others, but especially with yourself. If you lose yourself in relationships, build rituals that keep you anchored. Time alone, movement, stillness. If you're drawn to narcissists, get radically clear. What will you no longer tolerate? Where will you no longer shrink? Boundaries are self-respect in action. They're the locks that keep sabotage from slipping back in. Transformation isn't a single leap. It's a daily choice. And here's what no one tells you. Healing is uncomfortable at first. If you've lived on emotional roller coasters, a calm, stable love might feel boring. But that boredom, that's peace in disguise. That's the unfamiliar asking to become your new familiar. This is how you rewire your life. One choice at a time. One boundary at a time. One pattern interrupted. Again and again and again. Neuroplasticity is your ally. With every new choice, you literally change your brain. And the goal? Not perfect relationships, but conscious ones. Relationships that reflect who you are now, not who you had to be in order to survive. You begin to love, not from scarcity or fear, but from truth, from freedom. Because real love isn't something you find. It's something you build from the inside out. And when you finally stop chasing it, you realize you've been it all along. Love is not a gift you give. It's not a reward you receive. Love is what you are. When you begin to live from that place, something profound happens. Your relationships stop being sources of pain and start becoming reflections of your truth. Because love isn't a finish line. It's not something you finally find if you're lucky. Love is a path, a practice, a home inside you, waiting to be remembered. We've all been taught a different story, that love is out there, that it's something to earn, to chase, to be chosen for. And so we wait, to be noticed, to be enough, to be loved. But that story, as romantic as it sounds, keeps us powerless. It flips the truth inside out. Because authentic love doesn't come from others. It rises from you, like a spring, quiet, steady, unstoppable, not extracted, not begged for. When you depend on others to feel love, you enter a cycle of scarcity. You become like a vessel full of holes, forever trying to fill what cannot hold. Love that comes from outside is always limited, temporary, conditional, bound by someone else's capacity. The shift begins when you realize you are the source. You don't need credentials, permission, or proof of worth. You were born worthy. Self-love isn't something you earn. It's something you uncover when you tear down the walls you built against yourself. In a world that taught you to measure your value by success, appearance, productivity, this kind of love becomes revolutionary. It means honoring yourself on your worst day, not just your best. It means offering yourself the same softness you give to the people you love. It means knowing, deep in your bones, that your worth needs no witness. And as you build this kind of love from within, your outer world begins to change. You stop reaching from emptiness. You begin offering from wholeness. You're no longer looking to be completed. You're offering something already full. You don't seek someone to make you happy. You share the joy you've already planted. You're not asking someone else to heal your wounds. You're healing alongside them. You're not depending on someone to make you feel worthy. You're celebrating the worth they reflect back at you. And that changes everything, even who you're drawn to. Because when you live in lack, you attract others who echo your unhealed pain. But when you live from wholeness, you attract resonance. You meet those who mirror your integrity, your peace, your self-love. This isn't addictive attraction, it's affinity, alignment. And no, self-love is not narcissism. In fact, it's the opposite. Narcissism is born of inner emptiness, a craving to be filled by the eyes of others. True self-love is rooted in knowing. It's the quiet dignity of recognizing your full humanity. And when you do that, you stop projecting your unmet needs onto others. You start seeing them clearly. With compassion, here's a practice. self-compassion, on purpose. When fear shows up, when sadness visits, when shame whispers its old lies, don't run, don't fight, don't judge. Meet these emotions as parts of your human experience, not problems to fix, but truths to welcome. This is radical acceptance, and it rewrites everything, because the relationship you have with yourself sets the tone for every relationship you'll ever have. And love isn't a finish line. It's a daily act. Some days, you'll forget. Some days, old voices will return. The ones that say you're not enough. That's okay. Come back anyway. Every moment you choose yourself again, you deepen your capacity to love authentically. Not from need, not from fear, but from wholeness. The greatest paradox of all is this. The moment you stop chasing love as if it's something missing, you realize it was never missing. Like a fish searching desperately for the ocean, you've been swimming in it all along. Love was never outside you. It was never something to win, to earn, or to find. It's been here, quietly, constantly, waiting to be recognized. Your task was never to go looking. Your task is simply to remember, to soften, to allow, to express what has always lived inside you. First to yourself. Then, without force, to everyone and everything around you. This is the sacred truth mystics and sages have whispered for centuries. Love is not something you do. Love is something you are. And when you live from that knowing, every moment becomes a mirror. Every relationship becomes a reflection. Every encounter becomes an expression of that infinite presence that is your truest self. Love is not a reward for being good enough. It's a natural state that awakens when you embrace yourself fully. Not just the polished parts, but the shadows too. No one can love you as deeply, as truly, as completely as you can learn to love yourself. And that, right there, is the turning point. Because when you get this, love is no longer a search. It becomes your way of being, a presence you carry, a frequency you emit, a home you return to. If something in this message stirred something in you, share it. Someone in your life may be walking through the same mirror, carrying the same questions, looking for the same answer you just heard. And if your heart feels ready to go deeper, to keep walking this path of inner transformation, you're invited to stay connected. Subscribe, click the bell, or simply breathe and return to this space when needed. Because here's the truth you'll always be reminded of. Love isn't something you find. It's something you build, one breath at a time, one choice at a time, one moment of courage at a time. And that journey, it begins right now. Thank you for walking this path with me. Until next time, be well and be love.